to move on to this right here, right? The Korean War memorial. There's a lot of memorial. Like I do get a little teary eyed when I see like at the end of a Vietnam movie and they do like the scene where like the guys are looking at the wall, right?
Yeah, that one always gets.
It tears me up. But this right here, I will say out of all the memorials I've ever seen, I've never actually seen this in person.
I haven't either.
But seeing the pictures, it hits me in like a just like a deeper, weird way, like in the sense of I know what they're trying to do. They're showing the people and stuff, and whoever came up with it, they're amazing. But it really is like Ghost walking the battlefield in the sense of like it was a forgotten war.
It was forgotten, and that's sad because no American soldier who ever fought a war should ever be forgotten.
Yeah, should ever feel like that.
Yeah.
But this right here, just seeing them like this was amazing.
Yeah.
Whoever I should have done the research and know
I don't know
who did it. But,
the sculptor anyway was.
But seeing this but this right here is a perfect example, right? Looking at this, if you don't know military history, if you don't know about the conflicts, this can be easily just this guy right here alone can easily make you think of Vietnam. Then you see the rifle, and you're like, maybe World War II.
Right.
And that's sad in the sense of it was forgotten.
Yeah. And, it's crazy because one day I was waiting for my PTSD appointment, and I was sitting next to this older man, and we were just shooting the shit, and we started talking, and he told me that, he goes, I started having problems from this frostbite. You talk about this man was probably already in the 70s. Yeah. It was that far back ago. And I go, wow, man, I hate hearing about that. And, we're talking, he told me about when he got frostbite, and he was kind of telling a story. He goes, yeah, here lately, man, I been having some difficulties. And I knew what he was talking about. And I said, just like anxiety. And I was just saying, he goes, man, I'm just having problems. So, man, I said, man, would you be willing to get some help? I said, don't be ashamed. I told him that's why I'm here right now.
Yeah.
I'm here to get my help. I had a good doctor here, Dr. Richardson. He was a great doctor. I credit him with a lot. I said, give me your name. I said, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Richardson. And Dr. Richardson, I gave Dr. Richardson, he goes, I'm going to get a hold of him, and I'll bring him in with my Vietnam vet group.
Oh, yeah.
So hopefully he did get the help, but it made me feel so bad for him because all these years, it seemed like he dealt with things right. He said, but when that frostbite came back, it took him back here.
It triggered that memory.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, with my issues, Dr. Richardson told me, he goes, you got and you got him too, you got a daily reminder
right
of what you went through.
Where you were,
and and it is a daily reminder. That's why you're going to feel anger every day. You're going to feel anxiety every day. You're going to be up and down emotionally. But he taught me the tools to use in life that I'm hoping I'm living a better life. But I felt so bad for that man.
Yeah, because
I got it was almost hard to hold back my tears just to talk to him.
Yeah,
because here's a man, 77 years old. Now he's
dealing with it.
Yeah, now he's dealing with it.
And I think that's what breaks my heart about Vietnam and Korea. Vietnam, they got a terrible welcome home, and we harped on that in the last episode. But the Korean War vet, I think, without being there, without being in, what I can imagine is they didn't get the clear definition of victory.
No,
they came home, and like we said, they didn't get to ignore it. But at the same time, I think in the beginning, just like the American people, I think they try to ignore it in the sense of like, not ignore what happened, not ignore what happened to them, but I'm saying ignore the sense of like, this could pop off again, but I can't think about that. Right. I got to get back to my life, my normal, everyday, support your family, get a job, take care of like your kids.
And and that's true. They had
and I think that's kind of how not for them, but that's kind of how it got lost in the public. In the
And
sense of,
again, there was no victory.
yeah,
You know,
because I mean, even with that victory day for World War II vets, they had a clear, decisive. There was a victory.
Mhm.
They still recognized they had issues and problems that came up
Right.
later. I think they rode the high of like the victory. And
yeah,
then,
but
and
when
then
it's
it
over,
set
you're
in.
sitting in your house by yourself.
And I think it was the same thing for the Korean guys in the sense of they didn't have the victory day, they didn't have a big celebration. And I think that's what makes things a little bit harder is that they were expected to kind of just like
It's over now.
fall right back in the line.
Right.
A lot of people didn't even know where they were or what happened.
Or that one we always hate. Well, it's over now.
Yeah, just
Forget
go back to
about
life.
it. Yeah, go forget about it.
And not even worst scenario.
Yeah.
Just being a soldier
in general
and getting out and returning back to civilian life. It's hard.
It's an adjustment.
It's an adjustment in the sense of what people don't understand if you've never been in the military.
Yeah.
It's a different mindset. And when you leave that mindset and you come back to what we've always referred to as the real world,
yeah.
It's hard.
It is.
It's hard to make that transition because things that you haven't had to think about and you've been dealing with other extremes or just everyday life is just different.
It is different. That's and I know I get the feeling at my age, I'd rather be back overseas sometimes. Because you understand, life is, even though we do have extremes we deal with, life's a little bit more simpler for us over
there.
Yeah. And then the brotherhood, the camaraderie, it's unmatched.
I was talking to a buddy the other day and like I told him I was like, it's shitty to say, but I miss Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me, he was like, I think about it every day and I miss it too.
Yeah.
And I don't want people to misconstrue the fact that like we miss conflict or war or whatever. It's like you said, things are simpler, things are different in the sense of when you're there, the only person you have to rely on is the guy to your left and your right. The only person they have to rely on is the person to the left and the right. And when you are segregated into that point to where you're a small organization, like a platoon or even a squad or a team or whatever, your mindset is different in the fact of you can talk about home as a fantasy.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and if you're not in the military, you're not going to understand it, but you can talk about home in the sense of like, you tell stories about growing up or what your parents are probably doing right now or you and your buddies used to do.
Yeah.
And it's almost a fantasy.
It is a fantasy, yeah.
And I think we build that up in our head to be better than what it is.
Right.
And then when you do come home, those things never changed, but you built this fantasy.
Right. But you don't.
But you've changed.
Yeah, I didn't see my change.
Yeah.
I thought I was the same person, but I guess I wasn't.
Right.
So.
And when you're living for like you, living in the tank, for me in Iraq, living in, a sea bunker or a cutout in the ground, like a little hole, like things become really small, things become a lot simpler, a lot more humbling in the sense of like, I don't know, man. I even today, like, washing your clothes, right? I know this is going to sound stupid, but think about Korea, Vietnam, all these different places, even for me in Iraq, washing your clothes.
Yeah.
What do you do now? You throw them in a dirty clothes basket. One of you avoids putting them in the washer. One of you avoids taking them out of the dryer and folding them.
Put them back, yeah.
But the washing and dryer didn't work.
Yeah.
For me and the guys, we washed them in an ammo can.
Yeah.
Like, people were sending us Tide Pods, busting them open, dumping them in a ammo can full of bottled water, and then, like, literally like the old days, like, fucking hand washing it and then hanging it to dry.
Yeah.
Like,
I remember one time I actually had to use my shampoo.
Yeah. Just something.
Just something. Just some soap to hit my clothes.
I mean, it becomes so simple in the fact of, I got to wash my clothes. This is the only way I got to do it. I hate to use clothes. There's a lot of other things going on. But I'm saying, like, it gets so simple in the fact of like everything you own's in a bag.
Yeah, yeah. That tank was my home. That was my condo or whatnot. You want to call
Right.
it? Yeah,
And like the sea bunker we stayed in, there's 2 cots.
yeah.
When 2 of you are up doing guard, the other 2 sleeping on the same cot you're sleeping on when you come in
Right,
12 hours later.
right.
Everything is shared. Everything is, like I said, it's simple. You're down to a very small living conditions or quarters or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
And there's so much more going on around you in the sense of like you think about those comforts in like a fantasy.
right.
Like, man, I can't wait to get home and just fucking throw this shit away or throw it in the washer or
I was the
whatever.
same way. Yeah, and I've done that. If I make it back, I'm never gonna be without a shower.
Yep.
And I shower 2 to 3 times a day.
So thinking about you telling that story about that Korean War, but being fucking cold.
And we talk. That's the worst. I hate being cold.
And you can't get warm.
No,
you can't start a fire.
You're not gonna. You can't. It's not like when you're hot. You can take off your shirt, loosen up things. Your sweat kind of cools off in the breeze. You're cold. It's just miserable.
The one thing I will say is, I've never been against the cold in the sense of I like the cold. I like wearing my hoodies.
That's
and
me. I'm
stuff
a
like
hoodie
that.
guy. Yeah.
And maybe that's because we were somewhere that it was hot, but I couldn't imagine reading stories about guys in Bastogne, reading stories about these guys in Korea, where they're talking about cutting strips out of blankets to wrap around their boots. Just being. I've been cold, but I've never been negative 50.
Yeah, I've never felt that. I mean, the
frostbite,
right?
But I've been cold, and I've been cold,
but like for you being in Colorado, different. Like the other time I've been in real cold weather, I've been at home. You know what I mean? I've never had
You get cold outside, you go inside.
You go outside. I never had to endure, especially with these Korean War vets went through. I couldn't.
You know
imagine.
what? And I don't know a lot. I know pretty good amount about Korean War, but what I think about when they talk about that cold, and I know it's from World War II, but that picture pops into my mind about Band of Brothers and like Lieutenant Winters in Bastogne waking up to shave his face, and he's busting ice up in his canteen cup to shave, and I'm like, dude, I don't know. I remember at the end of my Iraq deployment, we were there for the winter.
Mm-hmm.
The winter. And like I say the winter, and what people don't get either is like you're in 120 degrees every day. If it drops down to 70,
you're chilly.
You're fucking cold.
Yeah.
I remember there's a picture of all of us standing out by the Matvees, and we've got these, the mirrors on the Matvees we're shaving our faces with. And I remember being fucking cold, shaving my face. It wasn't even cold, but like
70-something. Yeah.
But the difference in the weather, the temperature.
Yeah.
So now imagine being negative 50, and some asshole comes out and they're like, some general's coming by, some commanders
you
coming
need to
shave your face, and you're like, with what, motherfucker? Like,
go fuck yourself.
I took my, like you said, I took my boots off.
There's
and I had
3 toes in that damn thing.
And you want me to shave my face? Like,
yeah, and you always got those officers. Even sometimes you get some enlisted guys like that, some NCOs. Yeah.
There's that redundancy that people don't get either in the military of like, in Vietnam, the uniform was
right.
But like depending on what platoon or regiment or whatever you're in, uniform differs.
Right.
But for our generation, it's right uniform the whole time, right?
Right. Yeah.
So being in the hot weather and like you can't take your top off, you can't just wear your vest and a t-shirt or no shirt.
Right.
I imagine that's what early generations were like in the Korean War, the World War II, in the sense of like, you got to be in this uniform, you've got to wear this, you've got to do that. I mean, why is Lieutenant Winters shaving his face with 4 feet of snow on the ground in Bastogne?
Yeah.
Because of fucking military, that's why. And it's not just shaving your face, it's the redundancies of like all these different things. Like, well, yeah, I could put this jacket with this on and that on.
Right.
And I could be warm, but some asshole is going to walk by and be like, You're not in uniform.
It's not an issue.
When did they authorize
Yeah.
the winter scarf?
And there's always those fuckheads. Always.
So that's what I think about when I think about these guys in that cold.
Well,
I'm sure they were doing anything to stay warm, but you got to
Yeah.
remember you
Well,
can't
you know,
start a fire. You don't
nothing.
have the
Yeah.
diesel generator in the tent. You don't have all these.
And like you said, especially when it came to fuel, well, any fuel was going for your tanks
Yeah.
and your trucks.
You're not
Jeeps.
running a
Yeah,
Mr. Coleman
right.
heater,
They
like,
said at one point they're even taking the clothes off the dead
to cover
reuse.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I've never been in a position where I was like, I'm gonna cut my sleeping bag up
to wrap around my feet.
to wrap around my feet.
Yeah.
Like now being in Colorado is probably the closest I got in that training event where
Yeah.
it's winter and you're fucking just cold the entire time.
Yeah, wet and miserable.
And like even then, we couldn't cut things apart and
Yeah.
wrap up. And so if the Army is allowing that to happen, that means that
That's
is a
bad.
desperate time.
Yeah, I saw things where guys, because hydration still, there's
Yeah.
guys actually eating snow. And then on top of all this shit, you got a man out there trying to fucking kill you.
Yep. And people at home that don't even know what the fuck is happening.
That's going on.
And to add on top of that, you're fighting a war for somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not even. I mean,
it's not. It really, I get it. You can preach. At the end of the day, they can preach communism.
but
Th-
was
there's
it
no-
really an American problem? See, and that's what I get upset. I get upset because it's done now.
The word has changed from communism to terrorism.
Right. And, I get tired of us doing this shit. And when you see these, because you see it when these people come over from Ukraine and the Middle East, these motherfuckers, some of these fuckers are fighting age. Why in the fuck you here?
Yeah.
I'm pretty much over us.
And the
These
Korean
people start fighting. Like we as a nation, we earned our freedom. These people never earned their freedom. They'll never have true democracy.
right. And that's to go back to the Korean War too. Something we didn't hit on. We hit on fighting the enemy, but those refugees flooding from the north
Right.
into the south.
Into the
There's
South.
instances where soldiers are put in this weird predicament to where, yeah, you want to help all the refugees. Yes, I get it. You see people coming in sad and broken, and you
Yeah.
want to do the right thing. You want to do the moral thing in the sense of this is a human being struggling. I want to help them.
Yeah.
But you also have to be backhanded in the same sense of like there was North Koreans infiltrating refugee trails and movements of people
Right.
dressed as a farmer, dressed as all
Yeah.
these other people, and with malicious intent.
Sounds familiar. What's going on?
That shit happened in Vietnam. That shit happened in the War on Terror. Like
Oh yeah.
these are people that don't. The last, like we said, the last conventional war really happened in World War II.
Right.
In the sense of this is a uniformed enemy, this is the person that we have to take
This
out.
is the battle line. Yeah.
And now you see in North Korea, yeah, you are still fighting a conventional force, but you're starting to see that exploitation of.
And what's crazy, in the rules of war, that's a spy. You hang them.
Yeah, but
Or,
and I'm sure I don't want
but again,
I don't want to
that was
tarnish
a
anything.
tactic they used though.
And I don't want to tarnish it. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings that did serve there. But I'm sure there's got to be a point to where you start looking at the refugee in the sense of like,
the enemy.
why the fuck did I help you?
Right.
It takes one. This is what's sad. It takes one time. So you can help 1,000 refugees crossing from North Korea into South Korea. It takes one time where someone exploits what's going on
and change that whole attitude.
and takes out a couple of buddies,
Mm-hmm.
a couple of friends, or platoon down the road, or whatever, and it changes your fucking mindset.
Yeah.
On every one of them refugees you see come
Oh yeah.
by. And you see that even happen in the war on terror in the sense of like Iraq and Afghanistan, where they start exploiting women and children and as suicide bombers and things like that. Like that has already started to happen in Korea.
Right.
And that's I mean,
and you
that's got to be hard.
Yeah, and you lose the feeling it towards them people because
Yeah. So here I am fighting a war that's not even mine.
right.
I'm fighting against communism when I'm not saying that they're not educated, but as a sense of if I'm 19, 17, 18, 16, joining the army, and then now I'm told I'm going to go fight communism, I probably really don't know what the fuck communism is, except for what's being pushed across the news and in the school.
Right.
And then I get there, so now I'm fighting a war that's not mine. I don't really know what communism is.
Right.
And I don't know what the defined fucking line of victory is. That puts a lot of fucking turmoil and challenges on the soldier in the sense of right and wrong, what I'm supposed to do, like why am I doing this?
In between the years, it's a mix and bowl in there. You know what I mean?
You know, in the beginning, if you're winning and you're not losing anybody, it's really easy to set that battle line.
Right.
But once you start losing people,
when that reality,
that confusion starts to really get bigger.
Like you start getting foggy in the cause, and you become a bitter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And yeah, it's a.
And no wonder why they say after 1950 at the end, right? They say it was like they call it the endless war.
Right.
No wonder why they thought it was endless.
Yeah.
Because here they were at Thanksgiving, 1950, told at Christmas the war will be over.
You're going home.
Where have we heard that before? World War II.
World War II. Yeah.
So now you got these guys believing the same thing.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen, and no wonder why you start to see morale drop, or you start to see confusion in what's the end state, what's the goal here.
Right, and it's kind of like almost I think it was the first battle in the Civil War. You got people that came from D.C. to watch this battle go on. This would be the one battle, and that was it.
And that didn't happen.
And then when they saw the slaughter, it was like, oh hell.
What have we got ourselves
into as a nation?
I don't know. I think when you dive into these things and you try to break them down, you try to look at it as just the facts. You try to look at. I mean, we've talked about this is about telling people about the regular soldier.
Yeah.
When you start really reading into it and you start really breaking it down, you start to see a lot of other things that are just like not talked about, that are not brought up, that are not.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what history takes. Anybody research it. You know what I mean?
But even just like watching a war documentary, right?
Oh,
they give you the facts of like Russia was bad, or Germany was bad, or this was bad. Yeah. We were good. This is what we're doing. But when you start diving in deeper, you start peeling back the layers. You start to see like what was the American soldier thinking? What was that one individual? Why did this platoon differ from that platoon? Why did this regiment differ from that regiment? And it all boils down to the same shit that I saw when I was in the military. Like, even in Iraq, right? I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, yeah, we knew about ISIS, we knew what was going on, but we didn't. I mean, I don't know. I don't think you could walk around to that platoon and get a clear, decisive answer from any regular soldier what the fuck was happening.
You have 20-something different answers.
Yeah. Well, we're here to fight ISIS, or we're the war on terror, or we're doing this, or we're doing that. Like, but when you really start to get down to the individual level, it's a lot of 19-year-old guys.
Oh yeah.
Maybe the senior NCOs, the platoon leader, the platoon sergeant, maybe they can give you a more definitive answer. But really, their answer is not going to match all the way up here while we're doing it. Because there's going to be some jackass that comes out on the TV and says, we're doing it for this. And then the soldier's going to look up and be like, that's funny because I thought we were doing it for this, or that's probably how these guys felt.
Yeah. That's always been my thing, even all in general. I get tired of us liberating. These people got to start fighting for their own selves.
I'm still, even at my time, I'm still kind of torn in the sense of like, if we can help, I feel like we should help. But then again, it's like, at what cost?
At what cost? Is it worth our sons and daughters? That's always the one. And people understand as a soldier, you don't get that fucking choice.
You know, it's
know.
crazy. It's talking about that. There was I can't quote it directly, but there's a quote from a Korean War vet that says, "After the things that I saw in Korea," and this is paraphrasing, this isn't
Yeah,
exact, but he's like, "After the things I saw in Korea, and the terrors and everything, I don't understand why we can't like take a diplomatic solution when we can."
hmm
And it makes you think like it's easy to say this is what we should do, this is who we should fight, this is how we should go fuck them down.
right.
But I don't think people think about the person that has to go do the fucking
The
down.
job. Yeah, the
Yeah.
person has to do it.
And once those people have seen it, you look at things different.
You
Like you
do.
want to avoid the fight, you
Yeah.
want to avoid the confrontation. Like
And I know.
no wonder why people protest Vietnam in the sense of there's a lot of World War II and Korean War veterans out there protesting
Right.
Vietnam, and I don't think they're protesting against the soldier. They were protesting to protect the soldier.
Yeah, and I understand that because that's where, especially me being, you know, from Desert Storm, and then when I saw the invasion of Iraq,
And he told me,
and then I get, and was it where, like for me watching, these soldiers get on these airplanes with smiles, what tear me up, and I get teared. My wife, what's going on? I said, some of those boys ain't coming home.
yeah,
And I don't think people don't realize that
yeah.
when what's asked upon a soldier.
Because
It ain't a football game. It's real.
the hard part is too, like the reason why this keeps happening, or we see the repeat, is because it's a different generation fighting, right?
Yeah.
And that generation, just like me, just like you, just like anybody before us, grows up with the fact of like we talked about on the 9/11 thing. I grew up.
Yeah,
War
your
on
whole life's
Terror is
been a war on
happening.
terror. Yeah.
So and to me, I need to go. I need to do my part.
Right.
Just like you, I need to go do my part. The Korean War vet, you got to think a lot of them are either World War II vets that don't want to go back, or they got in at the end and they want to go do their part,
Right.
or guys that didn't get to fight in World War II, so now they want to fight in Korea. Vietnam, it's all their dads and grandpas and uncles that
Right.
fought
Yeah.
in Korea
Korea and World War II,
II.
a lot of them.
And it's a repeat cycle in the sense of I'm not taking anything away from it. I think it's the biggest thing you can do for your country.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying they get taken advantage of in the sense of they're so eager to, like you said, they got on the planes, smiles, because they think that they're going to go
And
fight for their country,
their country.
and they're going to honor the people before them.
Yeah.
And they get left like every soldier before them with the fucked up conscience when they come back.
Right.
The change,
The change,
like,
yeah. Like I know I always mention it to you, one of my favorite quotes is from Plato. He said, only the dead have seen the end of war. The rest of us, we see it for the rest of our lives, And I guess if I wish we had a president or anybody in politics that they think about these things before we do send
yeah.
our brothers and sisters over there to fight. Is it worth it? Is it in the best? I just get best interest, and I like I said, I just hate every time we go somewhere and these fucking refugees come, and a lot of them boys are fighting age.
Yeah.
That burns a fucking hole in me, and I just,
yeah.
I'm not gonna fucking welcome them. You should be over there doing what my bros are out there doing.
That's and that's what I'll give to that's what I'll give to the people that stay and fight. I'm more willing to fight for you
if you're there with me.
Fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
like don't call me to come protect your house and you're gonna go.
Yeah,
go hide.
Go hide at mine. Yeah, go hide at my house.
Yeah.
And that's where I think a lot of I guess a lot of these guys in Ukraine who stayed and fighting the fight. Much respect, bro. I mean, you're earning your freedom. That to me,
that's what I'm saying. I'm not against helping a smaller country to fend off a big enemy.
Yeah, especially a dickhead by Putin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That little
So like
fucking midget.
Korea, right?
Yeah.
I'm not against the Korean War in the sense that we got in to help.
Right.
It's a small group fighting a bigger group.
Right.
But like you said, uh, I can't get behind going to fight for somebody that's not willing to fight for their own.
Yeah.
And there's probably going to be some people that feel differently about that.
Oh yeah.
We're supposed to go protect the people that can't fight. That's what I do for my country.
That's what I do
that's
for
what
my
the
country.
American soldiers should do for their country. Is
Right.
fight for the people that can't fight for themselves
Right.
in their country.
In their country.
And I will say there are women and children and people that can't fight for themselves in other countries that
Right.
I think we should go fight for.
Right.
But if you are capable to fight for your country,
Right. There should be militia started up everywhere.
it should be you're fighting for your country and you need reinforcements.
Right. Oh yeah.
And there's going to be someone that's like, well, America's been there, they've done. Okay, but look at the Revolutionary War.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's some people that didn't fight because they were too scared or whatever. But we weren't asking someone to fight our war for us.
No, I mean you figure there was dads and sons in the same militia, same company. You know what I mean? They
fighting the British.
Fighting the British.
Even in the Civil War.
Yeah, we need someone that says that we got, some help from France and but the majority was us because France really didn't get in until like later, but you had the guys that came in and helped organize our army a little bit, you know what I mean? Other than that, the majority was the American colonists doing the fighting.
Even if you look at the Civil War, there are people outside entities that got involved. But
yeah,
we fought our own Civil War.
Yeah, a lot of times you need help with, like we talk about the South, we get us help. So they didn't have the factories for
cannons. They didn't have this, they didn't have that. So that's what I'm saying about Korea is like they were fighting their own Civil War.
Yeah.
But in a sense, I felt like it was necessary for us to get involved and to back them.
Yes.
But they fought for their own fucking place too.
Exactly. And again, I just politics. Politics can fucking lose a war quicker and shit.
No, I agree with you. I mean, I don't know. I feel like we should be involved in the Middle East, and I feel like we shouldn't, and I feel like we should. And we can go back and forth on it all day. We can discuss every different avenue, but all we're getting at is that we can understand both sides of the fucking ball in the sense of like people saying we shouldn't be there and people saying that we should be there.
Yeah, and then that's the whole thing of our research. It opens you up to say, I see your side. I see your side. That's what happens when people, if you educate yourself and become a free thinker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just don't take what's told you as a concrete evidence. Dig your own.
Do your own research. Like, all we're doing is we're opening the door. We're giving you some facts. We're giving you our opinion.
Yeah.
We want, I don't care if we get 10 million views. I don't care if we get 1,000 views. I don't care if we get 500 views.
Right.
All I care is that the people that do tune in, the people that do watch, people that are following us, I hope all it does is inspire them to go look into the things that we're talking about.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Develop their own opinion.
On your own opinion.
Do your own research.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Chris and Joey said that the Korean War was this, and then they go look and they develop their own thing. That's
their
okay.
Own thing. Oh, that's great.
That's what great. America's supposed to be.
Right, you're supposed to be. You know what I mean? And in the end, one of those things where you're researching all this, you sit there and see that old man that was in the Korean War, and just much respect, man.
It gives you a different appreciation
for what they endured, because they endured a lot, and they're not talked about enough.
No. And I think that's why I know the past couple episodes we've hit 2 different wars in general.
Right.
But those are 2 wars that don't get talked about enough.
I agree.
So, this is just setting the foundation for what we're going to do in the future in the sense of getting down to soldier level, getting down to these smaller platoons or regiments or whatever, like Sam Watkins we did in the beginning.
Right, those little stories that are untold.
Yeah.
Unless you're a historical enthusiast like we are.
Yeah.
You're not going to know about the Sam Watkins or anybody like that.
I mean, there's people that have already reached out to me, and like one guy was like, "Yeah, I've done a lot of research on San Watkins. I'm so glad to see someone else talking about it."
See, that's great.
And then I've seen other people message me and be like, "I didn't even know
Yeah.
that it existed."
Yeah.
And I think people are more willing, probably, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think people will be more willing to hear our side of like Vietnam and Korea and stuff than sitting down and watching a documentary. You know, documentaries can get boring.
They can,
even being a historian and enthusiast. The one I turned on about Korea War was 2 hours, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make it through this. But then I found myself like at hour 55, like, is it over? I don't want it to be over, you know. But that's me. So maybe just hearing.
But you get those guys' voice. You're like, this motherfucker should be just, you know, this guy should only be doing, you know, when turtles mate. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's fucking boring.
It's like the Earth documentaries or whatever. Oh God! Snoop Dogg I think that interested some more people.
Yeah, you got to bring in the dog, man.
Even to hit on this, I know it's the Civil War, but my wife is very big into Ken Burns, right?
Right.
Oh, so yeah. He's done a lot of documentaries. I cannot sit through a Ken Burns documentary on the Civil War. I can't.
You know, it's my favorite Ken Burns is when he does things on baseball. Those documentaries I handle.
But I cannot handle him.
No.
With the Civil War.
No.
It just is too dry, and it's like a flash of like pictures and like.
Yeah, I only think I think about sticking a bayonet in them at that point.
But then there's some other people that, you know.
He's great. Oh yeah.
That get on there and they talk about it, and I'm captivated the whole time.
So yeah.
I was just saying, I hope that us doing this is like that for some other people that can't sit through a documentary. Maybe they can turn this on in their car.
And what's great about nowadays with phone and Google, you know what I mean? You can start, you know, you can look it up now. Maybe that sparks an interest in you.
Yeah. Maybe you get 30 minutes in and you're like, you know what? This is cool and all, but I'm going to go do my own.
Man, and that's great.
I'm fine with that.
I'm great with that. Yeah.
You don't have to listen to us talk for 2 hours.
No, you don't. Yeah, go do your own thing. You know, but really though, I mean, hopefully a lot of people who are talented, maybe this sparks an interest in writing a book about something. Yeah. You know what I mean? So,
and moving forward, you know, I know we're getting off the Korean War topic and stuff, but moving forward, you know, it'll be really good when we do have guests on the show, and we start, you know, getting their perspective, and it won't just be me and you having that other person come in and tell their opinion.
Especially you bring in a Korean War vet or Vietnam vet who was there.
Oh, I
mean, for us, it'd be just honored to have a guest like that on us. You know?
Oh, yeah.
But it's something I would look forward to. But again, hearing from them, I really am.
So maybe some veteran come here and put us in their place on.
Oh yeah,
the Korean
you
War.
two don't know shit. Hey, all right.
You watched a bunch of documentaries. Let me tell you the truth. Here I was with a bayonet.
They tell it like it ain't, you know.
But like always, we're very thankful for everybody that tuned in.
Thank you.
You know, we're gonna keep putting out episodes. We're gonna keep trucking until we decide it's just over. So
right now I'm having a blast.
I'm good.
Yeah, I really am enjoying it a lot.
And if anybody, I know we say this a lot, but if anybody has anything to add to the podcast we've already done, or something you want us to talk about, or you know, maybe they want to break down of something else, like, hey, we like the Korean War, but we want to know
a little bit more detail. Yeah, let us know what you would like for us. I mean, if you say, "Hey, I like you guys to shut the fuck up," but that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. but
really, honestly,
it would help us in the sense of we're picking topics and we're just doing our thing.
Right. If you got some that you want us to, you know, look into, we'll look into it. And
yeah, maybe you are that guy that you want to do research, but you don't have time, or you're too lazy, or whatever, and you want to hear us do it. I mean,
just kick over.
Just put it in the comments or message the Facebook page, whatever, and let us know. I'm telling you, like, we come up with a new topic every week on our own. Yeah. But if someone does want to put it in their own,
I'd be really more than happy to look into it.
Yeah, because then one thing I know you give us something different.
Right. And I know one thing you like to do, and I do love it as well. We love to research.
Yeah.
it's one I really enjoy. I love digging in, and
I think my problem with the research is I do too much.
I get carried away sometimes.
I mean,
Yeah.
This book is
I
already
mean,
it's just page
how
after
many times we
page.
talk about how many notes we got? We don't even like touch up on
Yeah,
half of it.
I'll go home and be like, well, I didn't even talk about this. I
Yeah.
didn't talk about that. Like, so
You know what I do? I kind of mark it, and I like, well, maybe I'll come back to it when we come back with another topic.
Yeah.
You know, say Korea, I can use it back then. Yeah.
Hey, maybe we can write our own book,
Oh yeah, maybe
the Talking with the Reapers book, and it'll just be chapter after chapter of the podcast.
that'd be fun.
I feel bad for my son because one day I'm going to hand this to him and be like, read it.
Yeah, see, I can't read your writing, Dad.
Figure the fuck out.
Yeah. You got pictures?
Yeah, there's no pop-ups.
There's no pop-ups.
But all right, I think that's all we got.
Yeah, that's all we got, man. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
thank you, and we'll